It is common knowledge that Kelly Ripa did not appear on any of the 3 episodes of the talk show that aired the previous week. The good news is that her husband, who is also a co-host, did not leave viewers at home to speculate and circulate tales about the reason why his wife went missing. Instead of Mark, the show's resident DJ, Deja Vu, filled in as Mark's temporary co-host so that the show could continue. In addition, Mark instantly provided an explanation of what was taking place. Regrettably, Kelly Ripa was experiencing some symptoms of being under the weather. At the beginning of the week, it was causing her voice to get strained. By Wednesday, she was still unable to speak. Her inability to speak rendered it difficult for her to perform her duties as a talk show host, which was a great disappointment. She was fortunate enough to have an excellent production crew that was able to figure out what was going on until she could reach a point where she was feeling better. However, rather than being a talk show presenter, Deja Vu is a DJ. This is something that should go without saying. Regrettably, it was revealed when Kelly Ripa's interim replacement made such a serious mistake that the production team was compelled to make modifications to the scenario. Say Alive, the replacement for Kelly Ripa, makes a huge mistake as well. One of the most recent episodes of Live with Kelly and Mark featured a conversation between Deja Vu and Mark Consuelos on the most popular Christmas movies in each American state. In order to get things started, she disclosed that Home Alone was the most popular option in both the state of Florida and the state of New Jersey. The situation, on the other hand, became somewhat perplexing once she arrived in California. Edward Scissorhands was determined to be the state's most beloved film, according to the survey. This was a Christmas movie, but Deja Vu stated that she wasn't really sure it was. At this point, Mark appeared to be just as perplexed as he admitted that he was unaware of the situation while gazing around. The individual who was serving as a substitute for Kelly Ripa then proceeded to veer off into a topic that was the subject of intense dispute. Some individuals are adamant that the film is a Christmas movie, while others argue that it is not. Title: Lethal Weapon, she responded with self-assurance. Deja Vu, on the other hand, was abruptly terminated by Michael Gelman, who was the executive producer of the show. No, be a hardener. He mentioned this in order to correct her regarding the film that she was referring to. Adding his voice to the conversation, Mark Consuelos concurred that Die Hard was the film she was referring to. Following the producer's correction, she inquired of the crowd whether or not they believed that Die Hard ought to be categorized as a Christmas film. In a turn of events that is unfortunate for Deja Vu, the majority of viewers of Live with Kelly and Mark are eagerly anticipating Kelly's return because they believe she would not have made such a significant error when reviewing Christmas movies. Are you of the opinion that the fact that the name of the Christmas movie was incorrect was such a significant error? Alternately, are people being overly critical of Deja Vu? With that being said, are you prepared for Kelly Ripa to make her comeback? In the comments section, please share your ideas. Morning television has always walked a careful line between polished professionalism and spontaneous charm. Live, one of the longest-running daytime staples, has built its reputation on exactly that balance. For years, Kelly Ripa has been at the center of that delicate dance, effortlessly steering conversations, adapting to unexpected moments, and keeping viewers hooked with her blend of humor and confidence. So when Kelly stepped away briefly, the network brought in a temporary replacement. What they didn't expect was the chaos that followed. What seemed like a harmless, short-term substitution quickly spiraled into a headline-making stumble that fans are still buzzing about. This is the full creative deep dive into what actually went down, how a routine episode went off the rails, and why this moment has become one of the most talked about missteps in the show's recent history. A new face meets high pressure. Every host who steps onto the live stage understands they're walking into a legacy. The upbeat energy, the quick flow, and the unpredictable studio environment require a unique rhythm. Kelly Ripa has mastered this over decades. The replacement host, stepping in for what was supposed to be an easy fill-in role, underestimated the weight of that rhythm. From the moment the cameras rolled, something felt slightly off. The pacing was hesitant, the transitions awkward, and the chemistry with the co-hosts noticeably strained. Producers behind the scenes immediately sensed the tension. The control room scrambled to keep the flow tight, but the unease only built as the minutes ticked by. It became clear the replacement host wasn't just nervous. This was shaping up to be a cluster of mistakes that would echo far beyond the hour-long broadcast. The segment that broke the episode: every live show has its risky moments. Messy cooking segments, unpredictable animals, or hands-on demonstrations that can go wrong in a heartbeat. Unfortunately for this substitute host, the most dangerous segment was the simplest one: reading the teleprompter. A routine introduction for a guest went sideways in spectacular fashion. The pacing was lost, key names were misread, and the entire introduction collapsed into a confusing sequence that left the guests standing backstage with a bewildered expression. Producers immediately tried to course correct, but the damage was done. The mistake created a domino effect through the rest of the episode. Timing fell apart. Cue cards lost alignment. A pre-planned transition was skipped entirely, forcing the control room into an emergency cut that looked jarring on screen. Viewers at home were quick to notice. Social media exploded with comments about the stumble, some shocked, others entertained, but most comparing the temporary host's performance to Kelly's usual effortless composure. The episode was supposed to feel seamless. Instead, it felt like a patchwork of chaotic moments trying to glue themselves together. Backstage panic and on-air pressure, while viewers only saw the on-air confusion. The true storm brewed backstage. The makeup team saw the nervous sweat. The stage manager whispered instructions faster than usual. Crew members rushed to adjust props and camera angles, trying to save seconds wherever possible. The replacement host felt the pressure intensifying. Each new mistake increased the anxiety, making it even harder to regain control. Instead of settling into the role, the panic created a snowball effect, pushing the episode further off course. Even the co-host tried to smooth over the tension with additional commentary and lighthearted gestures. But without Kelly's practiced balance, the show lacked the steady leadership that normally keeps everything anchored. Every segment felt increasingly fragile, as if one more slip could collapse the entire structure of the episode. The internet reacts. Fans don't hold back. Within minutes, clips of the episode began circulating online. Fans who had watched the show for years highlighted how different the energy felt without Kelly. Some expressed sympathy for the fill-in host, acknowledging the intense pressure of stepping into such a demanding role. Others, however, used the moment to emphasize Kelly's irreplaceable presence. The comparison highlighted just how much skill it takes to make a live show feel natural and effortless. Even small missteps exposed how much Kelly does behind the scenes without viewers realizing it. By the end of the day, hashtags related to the episode began trending. What was meant to be a quiet hosting substitution transformed into an online spectacle filled with memes, criticism, and spirited debate about whether the show could ever function without Kelly at the helm. Producers faced tough questions. After the broadcast wrapped, the atmosphere backstage grew thick with tension. The production team held an emergency debrief, examining the glitches, misreads, and technical hiccups that turned a routine show into a viral fiasco. Was the replacement host simply unprepared? Had the producers underestimated the show's complexity? Did the team rely too heavily on Kelly's ability to improvise during live chaos? These questions became central to understanding how things unraveled so quickly. The answer, however, was not simple. Hosting live isn't just about reading lines or smiling for the camera. It requires instinct, adaptability, charm, and the ability to steer a show even when everything behind the scenes is crumbling. Kelly had mastered that. The replacement had not, at least not on this first attempt. Ripa returns to a buzzing studio. When Kelly returned after her short break, The studio buzzed with whispered conversations about the incident. Crew members updated her on the chaos, and the reactions made her laugh, shake her head, or sigh in recognition of just how quickly a live broadcast can unravel. Her presence brought stability back to the room. Camera operators relaxed. Producers breathed easier. Even the audience felt reassured as the familiar rhythm instantly snapped back into place. Kelly's effortless confidence reminded everyone why she has become a cornerstone of the show and why replacing her, even temporarily, is no easy task. A lesson for the future, the episode served as a reminder. Morning shows may look easy, but the skill required to run them smoothly is anything but simple. Kelly Ripa's warmth, timing, and adaptability are rare traits that can't be duplicated overnight. The replacement host may return someday with more experience and composure. But for now, the stumble has become a memorable chapter in Live's history, a vivid demonstration of how quickly things can fall apart when the rhythm is broken. Fans will likely remember this moment for years, not because the mistake was unforgivable, but because it highlighted just how much Kelly's presence matters. Her steadying influence isn't just comforting, it is the backbone of the entire broadcast.